Hey guys, Chemo's back from Beard Profile. Today I wanted to do another minoxidil related video, and this time is specifically about shedding, which everybody throughout the journey experiences. I had made another video about beard shedding, which I'll link up as a card above, but that was more for people that are 1. Naturally bearded, and 2. have used minoxidil to grow their beards but are now off minoxidil, so post-minoxidil journeys, as shedding is the same concept between both, but there are differences when it comes to the minoxidil journey, which I'll get into in this video. So while a lot of information can overlap, there are a few specific things that should be pointed out to guys using minoxidil like I just mentioned, and let's get into that. Shedding while on minoxidil is completely normal. Yes, even if you're applying minoxidil to your face, you can shed hair on your scalp. Don't worry about this too much, because although you are going to be shedding more hair from your scalp that you normally would throughout, not using minoxidil, it won't be noticeable to other people, just to yourself. So you're washing your hair in the shower, you see more hair in the drain, or you're styling your hair and you're getting more hair on your hands, and that's completely normal. There's nothing wrong with that. The shedding is particularly more noticeable for us with longer hair, and that's for obvious reasons, just because the hair is longer. If you rock the fades and the short hair, you're really not going to notice too much shedding, if any at all. When I had short hair, I have been on minoxidil when I had short hair and long hair, and when I had short hair, I had not really noticed anything when it came to my head hair shedding. I didn't notice more hair shedding. It was just like any other day. Studies have shown that minoxidil does not cause premature balding. So let's say you have male pattern baldness in your genetics and you're bound to start losing hair at, say, the age of 35, like your father or other males in your family. If you're 23 right now, for example, using minoxidil will not cause you to bald sooner than that 35 age. Although that's just an example, and keep in mind that just because other men in your family go bald at around age of 35, it doesn't mean that you'll bald at the same age, but that is a decent indicator of when you may go bald. As for shedding facial hair, that happens too, that regardless of whether you have a beard and just need to fill in a few spots, or you started off with almost nothing like I did, you will go through shedding phases. It will shed the terminal hair, it will shed the vellus, it'll shed the transitional, which is also vellus. Everything can shed. And unlike with our scalps, the shedding on our beards is a lot more noticeable because there's a lot less hair. There's something around the lines of 110 plus thousand hairs on our head, and we're only shedding up to about 100 per day. With Minox, maybe slightly more. And when it comes to our faces, I'm not entirely sure of the number that we all have, because everybody's different, much different when it comes to facial hair and how dense we have our follicles. So let's assume we have 30,000. That's so much fewer. But keep in mind that shedding is a good thing while we're on our minoxidil journeys. The only way for us to have that terminal thick coarse hair is for our vellus to shed, and then our follicle produces more hair, and it may come out as terminal. It doesn't always come back out as terminal. It can shed and be vellus again, but you'll just have to go through those cycles of shedding to find out. And unlike a lot of people think, no, the vellus doesn't transform into a terminal hair. Like, let's say you have a vellus here on your cheek, it won't suddenly start turning into a terminal hair. It will have to shed first, and then your follicle will reproduce that hair, and then it will grow out as a terminal, maybe. Like I mentioned earlier, our faces have much less hair on them than our scalps do, and the hair is much shorter usually than our head hair is, so it'll likely be more noticeable throughout our shedding stages. Now, noticing that we are shedding isn't the standard. Not everybody actually notices that they're shedding hair throughout their journey. It is happening, but not everybody notices. So what I like to call these two different groups of people is that one group has what I like to call long shedding, and the second group has what I like to call short shedding. A long shed means that you shed less hair over a longer period of time, so it's not as noticeable. There are some guys like Basic here on YouTube that have noticed or have never noticed any sort of shedding throughout their minox journeys. But the hair, again, it has to shed. It does shed, you just don't notice it. And a short shed is basically the opposite. It's when you shed more hair over a shorter period of time. The short shedding is what usually causes guys to freak out a lot more because it is very noticeable compared to the long shed. But don't worry, the hair will come back, it'll grow back out. Simply keep up your minox routine and keep applying either 1 or 2 times per day, twice preferably, and give it a good 4 to 6 weeks before comparing your shedding pictures to your new pictures after that 4 to 6 weeks. And the 4 to 6 weeks isn't the case for every single person, of course, everybody's different, but it's a good time frame for the majority of us. That's it for the video, guys. Don't freak out if you start seeing shedding during your journey. It's a good thing. Every person I've seen that has made it this far into the journey has come out with a fuller face of hair, and they express their excitement that the shedding has ended and their beards look fuller. Like the video if you found it helpful. Subscribe for more beard, minox beard, and a little bit of non-beard related content. And until next time, guys, Chemos out.